Floods, it's ongoing and still going real quick and fast. Well, Ido Salah will join us now. He's an environmentalist. Thank you for coming on this morning. Well, we do have this report. Let's see if we could just go over to it, but we'll come to that in a bit. Yemetagwe did put some together, but we'll come to it in a moment. But as it is now, yes, they've set up different committees, funds have been donated, but there's still a lot to complain from the people that look, not much. They haven't seen much. I mean, I think we saw that of Bayelsa, but we'll see the rest of them in a bit. But yes, the rains have been predicted. Today, you saw the rains again. Do we have any moment saying that, okay, eventually, let's leave it to the authorities. They'll handle this right?
Yes, they've started in what I would describe as the right step first, and that's to take the immediate needs of the people affected with the flood. And that's what the release of that fund is meant for. Like those who are heavily impacted, the type A, type B, type C, those in Kogi, Anambra, and all this. Well, the question, it depends on each state government now to judiciously use the money. The money is not for jamboree. It's not, if I am one of the, maybe the law or the policy maker that is saddled with the responsibility of managing this fund, I will take 10% of that money to carry out post-impact assessment study of the flood-impacted area.
Have you heard any state doing this now?
No, I've not. In fact, the committee the president set up, he has not mentioned where a technical committee is to be set up.
And that's very important.
It's very, very, because if they get all this money, and the committee already gave themselves a kind of target, they said they want to raise 100 billion, right? Now, what would they use the 100 billion for? Is it to start reconstructing houses for those that their houses were demolished? Or to start looking at the impact, the technological feature or infrastructure development that they want to put on the bank of River Niger? I give you an example. The Ministry of Works, immediately the floods affected the major highway and no movement between the north and the south. Ministry of Works said they want to do a kind of road diversion or a kind of an alternative route. If somebody is in the Ministry of Work or Environment, if they are working together, what they should actually look for immediately is not about constructing an alternative road. It's about taking a pump, a lift pump, or a high-capacity pump station that can evacuate the water from that particular end where the flooding starts to another area, and it will remove the water. There are pumps that can move at 10,000 cubic meters an hour. It will remove now we are waiting for the flood to go naturally now. So as far as about 2 weeks ago now, nobody has made it that, okay, I think we can go and bring in pump and be pumping the water
no
to
pumps,
the lowest
no
grade.
inflatable boats.
No inflatable. So you see, our emergency response for flood management, I have a reservation there. That's
yeah,
what.
You've been speaking with these people. What goes through? What do they think or plan?
Yeah, your
How
clients
do they go
will tell you,
it?
consultant, yes, you can give me advice. It depends on if I will take the advice. And that is the problem we are facing.
Is it because they're constrained financially? Because some people might say that maybe they can't afford the pumps.
How much is pump?
Do they cost a fortune?
How much is pump? Pump that will pump water at a rate of 5,000 cubic meters an hour, 10,000 cubic. It's not more than maybe 30 million, 20 million to buy. And it will be linked to a mobile, a moving object, like a vehicle. And you can move it to the hinterland where the flood is not impacted. And you can join that pump with a long flammable pipe or HDPE pipe, and you can pump to another area. And that is part of emergency response that we're talking about.
So, before the emergencies, yesterday I got some information from NEMA that they actually informed the government, the state government, that the state where this floods impacted, that look, something like this is going to happen, and nothing was done. Is it that the government was not thinking about of preempting this?
No, it's not that. I think the flood over, overwhelmed us in the fact that no single state in Nigeria has come up with flood emergency response, the contingency plan for flood management.
And that's the deliberate plan.
That is one of the major things that every state must have. Now, if you have that, it is after you have that you need, okay, if we have a flood disaster, where do I start? I give example the River Niger. The River Niger dredging now, I start having a kind of question on the River Niger dredging. Because the states that the dredging activities is supposed to take place are the worst affected now. The 8 states, Edo, Kogi, Bayelsa, River. And another thing that I read was that somebody took federal government to a high court in Edo, asking that where is the EIA carried out before the dredging of River Niger?
As environmental
Impact assessment. And the law said, the law of Nigeria, environmental EIA law of SI2 of 1992, said before any infrastructure development, you must do EIA. Now, we can't do EIA again because they said River Niger dredging is almost 80% complete. And in fact, newer DG is saying now that the flooding activities that happen now might have an effect on the ongoing dredging of River Niger.
So they might have to go back again.
No, I don't know that. I don't know. Now, somebody must be asking question. The silt or sand removed from River Niger, where is it? At what level are you dredging River Niger to? What do you want to achieve for dredging River Niger? It's for economic importance. And I can tell you, they plan to dredge about 570-something kilometer distance of River Niger, covering 8 states. And they want to reach the depth of about 2.5 meters. I believe if effect of flood is now coming, it should be minimal. But this time around, it's on the other side. So something is wrong.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, because we also have spoken about this several times, the Ministry of Science and Technology.
Yes.
Because if you say they should have done maybe a deliberate flood emergency plan, shouldn't the ministry, or would it be out of place, or couldn't they have been proactive, having seen that warning from NIMET, to see, because we have this satellite, unless they say it doesn't exist anymore, they said they were going to use it to find the flood path. Shouldn't all of this have been part of the fray?
Yes, you see, the satellite imaging or satellite information system will assist for emergency situation like this, because they will be able to tell you the flood will be moving in this direction. The river Rhine area or the river settlement around this area should be evacuated. And the warning was given by NIMET. Now, another one, that the health implication and the socioeconomic implication. Now, I want to tell you, the Minister for Agric, with due respect, he said the water might be a kind of blessing for them during dry season. I've not seen the science behind that. I've done research where we are trying to use wastewater, because the way wastewater will be coming from industrial discharge is just like this flood. Where we're trying to say, let's try and remove and recycle wastewater from industry instead of throwing them into the river, and use it to do irrigation. And we find out that this water is heavily polluted. So any crops that you use this wastewater for will definitely have problem. And in terms of yield, you may have a kind of pollution being, the plant being infected, and it's not good for consumption. So now, you now said, one, you don't even have water harvesting facility that you will remove this water and put them in a storage facility for dry season. And this water is now being mixed with sewage, septic tanks, solid waste that are already heavily polluted. So of what value will that serve the agri sector?